Over to the NFL, where Steelers edge rusher TJ Watt has agreed to a 3-year, $123 million extension with $108 million guaranteed, making him the highest paid non-QB in the league. When he signed his previous deal in 2021, he was the highest paid defender. However, it has since been passed over. TJ Watt's $41 million per year deal will make him the highest paid non-quarterback by average per year in NFL history, passing Jamar Chase's deal earlier this offseason. It's been the offseason of handing out big bags to non-quarterbacks, as the 5 highest per year deals given to non-quarterbacks all time were all signed this offseason. Just got paid Friday. That's exactly what TJ Watt is saying right now. We got our football analyst Sam Acho with us right now. And Steelers, they lock up TJ Watt, and to cap off a busy offseason on the defense that included trading Minkah Fitzpatrick for Jalen Ramsey and signing Darius Slay. How does Pittsburgh's defensive unit rank against the rest of the league right now?
Well, they're still in the top 10, but I think they're outside of that top 5 defense. Over the last several years, they've been 7, 8, 9. They've been consistently good, but they haven't gotten too great yet. Now, keeping TJ Watt will help them get back there. Getting guys like Darius Slay and Jalen Ramsey, those help. But the loss for me of Minkah Fitzpatrick might hurt them more than expected. I understand that Jalen Ramsey has position flexibility. He can play all over the field. But Minkah Fitzpatrick is a multiple-time Pro Bowler, multiple-time All-Pro. And so I think they might miss him more than anticipated. So there's still going to be a consistent defense. But will they be number 1, number 2? I still like Philly. I still like Kansas City when it comes to those top 3 defenses.
The consistency is the name of the game out there in Pittsburgh. And sometimes that's what they're looking for. But, of course, also looking to get over the hump as well. Sam, don't go anywhere. We got more from you. Shay, what you got?
All right, Amina, we are less than 2 weeks from the first game of the NFL season, or I should say the preseason, as the Chargers and Lions face off in the Hall of Fame game on July 31st. The Chargers were the first team to really get training camp started yesterday. Justin Herbert was on the field, but one of his familiar targets was not, as wide receiver Mike Williams announced his retirement. As for the Chargers' Hall of Fame game opponent, the Lions have their veterans reporting to camp tomorrow. Let's talk more about the Lions as we bring in our NFL reporter Courtney Cronin and Sam Acho here. And since, the NFC North is kind of all of our wheelhouse, we're going to stay there. The reigning division champs lost both their OC and their DC to head coaching jobs. Of course, Ben Johnson now is with the Bears. Aaron Glenn is now with the Jets. And so, Courtney, I'm going to you first. What has the chatter been like around Detroit and protecting their NFC North crown?
Yeah, the league personnel I've spoken with have emphasized the changes at OC and at DC and seeing how this team is going to fare. Because in 2023, we saw this with the Philadelphia Eagles. They lost Jonathan Gannon. They lost Shane Steichen. Team starts out 10-1, and then we know what happened after that. So seeing how this offense under John Morton performs after losing Ben Johnson to the Chicago Bears. Remember, this was the #1 scoring offense in the NFL, an offense that ranked top 6 in rushing. John Morton is their new offensive coordinator. He comes in from Denver. High reviews so far. Sam Laporta called him a brilliant mind. And on the defensive side, Kelvin Shepard has been in this organization for a while. He's got the respect of these players. But let's not forget, Aaron Glenn had to do a lot of moving and shaking last year. At one point in December, they had 12 guys on injured reserve on the defensive side of the ball. Losing 2 coaches who have been able to do a whole heck of a lot for this Detroit team, taking them all the way to the playoffs last year. It's going to be some big shoes to fill.
I guess the good part about that is they get some of those guys back from injury reserve. They come back from injury, so they're a little bit more healthy. Sam, let's talk about this from a player perspective, right? Which side of the ball is going to struggle more as we get started here in the season?
It's going to be the offensive side of the ball, because you talk about some of the guys that they get back on defense, but there's a guy who left the team. He retired. His name is Frank Ragnow. He's been the starting center for the past several years. He's a 4-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro. And so you have changes when it comes to the coaching staff. But think about it. The people who touch the ball every single play on offense, the center and the quarterback. And now your All-Pro center has retired somewhat unexpectedly. I understand there has been conversation, so the coaching staff knew. But I think the loss of Frank Ragnow is going to be a bigger deal than people anticipate.
Okay, so that's something to keep an eye on. And obviously, the offensive side of the ball will not have Ben Johnson. Because why? He's now coaching the Chicago Bears. And so, as Caleb Williams gets set for year 2, but year 1 with Ben Johnson, Courtney, what is the #1 priority for one Caleb Williams?
Cut down those sacks. 68 is way too high of a number. It led the league last year for Caleb Williams. The Bears have done a lot this offseason to address that. They flipped the interior of the offensive line in the matter of a week in the month of March. Darnell Wright is their incumbent right tackle. It's the left tackle spot, Shay, that's going to be the biggest position battle in training camp. They have Karan Amagaji, last year's 3rd-round pick. They've got Ozzie Trapillo, who they drafted out of Boston College this year. They love him. He's only had 3 penalties 5 penalties in 3 years as a starter at BC. So those two during OTAs minicamp were switching up with the ones at left tackle. The caveat here, don't forget about Braxton Jones, the incumbent left tackle who had ankle surgery in the offseason. He was not a part of things during the spring. When he comes back, you've got 3 guys vying for one spot to protect Caleb's blind side.
Okay, and they're going to have to protect him quickly, too. Williams was sacked 15 times in 4 or fewer seconds, 7th most in the league last season. Now we go to our resident Bear. That would be Sam Acho. A successful season in Chicago, and Courtney and I might feel differently about this, would be what?
Winning in the playoffs. Not just getting there, but winning. I played for the Bears for 4 years. The Bears haven't won a playoff game in 15 years. And so I understand this idea of, okay, just make it to the playoffs in a stacked NFC North. No, you can't just make it when you're Ben Johnson. You have to be able to win in the playoffs, at least one game. Caleb Williams was the #1 overall pick. Now you have, for people might argue, the #1 overall coach, if you want to say, in Ben Johnson. The defense got better and better. They've built consistency, and so the defense is there. The offense, which was 28th in points, 32nd, last in the league in yards, should have an influx of production. So you can't just be a top offense and the defense struggle. You're the head coach, Ben Johnson. You have to win at least one in the playoffs.
What do you think? Win one or just make the playoffs?
I think getting to the postseason, obviously winning's important, but you know how tough that's going to be? They've got the longest odds. This division is the most stacked division in football right now.
But there are questions. We talked about it. Detroit's lost their coordinators.
Yeah.
The Minnesota Vikings have a new quarterback. Jordan Love struggled last year. And so making it is okay, but you can't just make it over and over again and not be able to win.
Look at you with the rose-colored glasses and the Bears coming in with the new head coach. I love it.
All right, we stay in Indiana, but back to the NFL, where the Colts report to training camp early next week after an 8-9 season. The QB competition will be in the spotlight. Former #4 overall pick Anthony Richardson has a lot to prove after injuries and ineffectiveness on the field that has plagued them. To hedge their bets, the Colts signed ex-Giants quarterback Daniel Jones to a 1-year deal. Senior NFL writer Jeremy Fowler and Sam Acho back here in studio with us. And Jeremy, I'll start with you. Anthony Richardson coming into a pivotal year 3 after undergoing surgery to his right throwing shoulder and a setback after that. Where is Richardson physically right now as he heads into this quarterback competition?
Yeah, I mean, I just checked on this. He's physically fine. He's throwing the ball. He's working out in North Florida, getting ready to report for training camp. No setbacks right now. The Colts will have a plan, I'm told, for Richardson early in camp. I expect the first week they maybe take it a little easy with him because he had that inflammation in his shoulder earlier this summer. And then by week 2 or so, he expects to get off and running. He is focused on 3 things: winning the quarterback job, staying healthy, and taking the Colts to the playoffs. He's got a long way to go because Daniel Jones, I was told that last week of minicamp, was lights out, really good. So it's going to be about who's the most consistent quarterback. Head coach Shane Steichen has made that clear.
And look, you talk about Shane Steichen making it clear that he wants the most consistent quarterback under center. So when you take a look at this, Acho, who do you think gets the job?
I think Anthony Richardson does get the job, and I think the reason why is that competition brings out the best in everyone. I think that Anthony Richardson's best will end up being better than what Daniel Jones has to provide. Yes, they both are athletic.